4, police are looking for the suspects they say robbed a business in Corbin and hit a manager while driving away. And Kentucky health officials are defending their actions in responding to the Hepatitis A outbreak.
And our next system is slowly working across the United States, taking aim at the Ohio Valley. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Justin Case. First at 4, police in Laurel County are looking for 2 people who robbed the Love's gas station in Corbin this morning and hit a manager before leaving the scene. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked with police about the incident.
Police say sometime after around 6:30 this morning, at least 1 out of the 2 robbery suspects ran off into these woods behind me off of Dewberry Lane. Officers say 2 suspects robbed the Love's truck stop at 6:25 this morning. As a manager approached the 2 in their van outside, the van struck the employee in the leg. After a chase for what police say was close to 4 miles, the van stopped at the end of Dewberry Lane, where the van almost hit several children waiting for their school bus. They say the man who was driving ran on foot at the end of the road, and they say the woman passenger got out sometime before.
We're really fortunate that it wasn't any more serious than it was, but it was a very serious offense, and we want to get these suspects in custody as soon as possible.
Police ask anyone with any information on the suspects to call them at the Laurel County Sheriff's Office. In Laurel County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
We reached out to Love's truck stop in Corbin. They did not want to comment.
Well, mostly cloudy skies, the main story for the end of the work week, and showers have been a little bit more common in southeastern Kentucky, where they continue to fall on a very soggy Whitesburg. We'll take you there. Temperatures at 47 degrees, feels like 45, and really the winds allowing those temperatures to be a little tad cooler there, with winds out of the west at 5 miles per hour. Pinpoint Doppler showing a few isolated showers. This will continue as we head into the overnight, but the bulk of the activity is pushing eastward, as we'll look at about a 20% chance of rain for the rest of the overnight hours. Look at the temperatures once again, the 50s down in portions of Virginia, even in southeastern Kentucky, where you get those upper 40s. Everyone else, you're stuck in the 30s and the 40s at this time. Of course, the headlines, well, patchy fog tonight. Cloudy skies will continue for your Saturday. And yes, for Sunday, a wintry mix is possible. So we're starting March on the cooler side of things. Justin will tell you how cool coming up in a few short minutes.
Andrew, thank you. Kentucky health officials are defending their actions in responding to the Hepatitis A outbreak in Kentucky. This as 2 senators have filed a bipartisan resolution to see if the state can do more to address the public health situation that has sickened hundreds and killed several dozen. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from the state capitol.
2 senators were joined by Kentucky health officials in talking about a resolution to seek answers to the outbreak, in addition to defending the state response to that outbreak. Hepatitis A has infected over 4,000 Kentuckians and more than 40 people have died. 2 senators, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat, have filed a resolution that they say hopes to get answers as to why all of this happened. The resolution also comes after a series of newspaper articles in the Louisville Courier-Journal that criticized the response and questioned if more could have been done to prevent the casualties. Kentucky health officials say the articles did not tell the whole story.
What we can do in the Senate, we can't fix what has already happened, but we can figure out what happened, why it happened, and how we can fix it going forward.
Distrust of the media is at an all-time high, and when we talk about today is a demonstration of why that is. In my opinion, the actions of the Courier-Journal in this instance are a breach of the public trust, was inaccurate, and borderline unethical.
The commissioner of the Kentucky Health Cabinet was joined by the director of several local health departments in stating that the public health system in Kentucky needs an overhaul because of Medicaid expansion and shrinking budgets. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
State health officials did say today that they believe the number of incident cases of hepatitis has decreased in recent months. A child has died from the flu in Chicago as one suburban county school district is battling a severe outbreak. 15% of the students at South Middle School in Arlington Heights stayed home Wednesday, and officials sent 23 more home during the day. A total of nearly 200 kids missed class. Cleaning crews are taking extra care to disinfect schools in the district. Officials say the flu is so contagious, the best thing is to keep all sick kids home.
We're just starting to see it. January was actually a relatively light month. February in particular has been one of the worst Februarys more recently.
The child who died marks the first pediatric death from the flu in Illinois this season. 2 adults have died from the disease. There is an important new heart medicine recall we need to tell you about. Camber Pharmaceuticals is pulling about 56,000 bottles of losartan used to treat high blood pressure and congestive heart failure. This is after trace amounts of potential carcinogen were found in the medicine. The Food and Drug Administration says no one has reported any adverse effects from the drug, but patients should speak with their doctor to discuss the recall before they stop taking the drug. You can also find more information about losartan recall on FDA.gov. Family, friends, and loved ones are saying their final goodbyes to a Tennessee police officer killed in the line of duty. A funeral service for Officer Nicholas Gallinger is being held today in Claremont County, Ohio, where he was from. Gallinger graduated from the academy a month ago and was living his dream working for the Chattanooga Police Department. Gallinger was checking a hazard in the roadway Saturday when a driver hit him, then took off. Several law enforcement agencies here in eastern Kentucky lined up to send Gallinger off Wednesday when his procession crossed over state lines. The man accused of killing a police officer in Mentor, Ohio with his Jeep was in court today. 24-year-old Brian Anthony changed his plea from not guilty to guilty for 4 charges, including aggravated vehicular homicide, operating a vehicle under the influence, and not stopping after an accident. Anthony was charged with killing Officer Matthew Mazzani last June as he was conducting a traffic stop. Prosecutors say Anthony had drugs in his system at the time of the crash. Officer Mazzani was a 14-year veteran of the Mentor Police Department. Sentencing for Anthony will be April 12th. President Donald Trump says he took time during his trip to Vietnam to watch Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill this week. And now that he is home, he has a lot to say about what he heard. President Trump called Michael Cohen discredited, saying he committed perjury. He also called his congressional hearing this week fake testimony. President Trump appeared on Fox News with Sean Hannity last night. They refuted Cohen's testimony that the president authorized hush money payments to 2 women who claimed to have affairs with the president.
He said to me at least a dozen times that he made the decision on the payments and he didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Told me personally.
No, he did, and he made the decision. And remember this, he's an attorney. Whatever decision he makes, you're supposed to rely on an attorney to make a decision.
The House Intelligence Committee hopes to grill the Trump administration's Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg about his alleged involvement in hush money payments, and they plan to interview former Trump associate Felix Sater about the Trump Tower Moscow project that Cohen was involved with. The governor of Washington announced this morning that he is running for president. 68-year-old Democrat Jay Inslee says climate change will be his #1 priority during his campaign. He made his announcement in a video. Inslee says his climate mission would include powering the economy with clean energy, investing in good jobs, infrastructure, and innovation, fighting for environmental justice and economic inclusions, and ending fossil fuel giveaways. Heading over to Wall Street on this Friday afternoon, the Dow closes up more than 110 points. Early tomorrow, SpaceX will launch its new spaceship on a critical test flight. This will be the first time a commercially built and operated spaceship capable of one day carrying people will travel to the space station. Falcon 9 is the company workhorse, launching 20 times last year, but Crew Dragon needs a successful test flight called Demo 1 before SpaceX can fly people. Now, the goal is to prove it can safely dock and undock from the space station, re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, and splash down off the coast of Florida.
The only way to really demonstrate it is to fly it and prove it. You know, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. It's the show me state, and having those successes under your belt goes a long way to giving confidence.
And if something's going to go wrong, you want it to go wrong when it's uncrewed.
Yeah, when we're not on the rocket, absolutely.
Once the space shuttle program ended in 2011, NASA had only one option to get to the space station: hitch a ride with the Russians. A round-trip ticket on a Soyuz rocket costs $81 million per seat. That is now changing. NASA has hired two private companies, SpaceX and Boeing, to design and build new space taxis. Straight ahead on First at 4, we'll preview some of tonight's hottest games in the high school boys regional semifinals.
And our next system could provide snow chances. The details are coming out.
It's taking over. There's no escape. You better get moving.